Tomorrow Night Life. I hope you enjoyed your Mother's Day. I know I sure did. In fact, I'm still enjoying it. It's still Mother's Day as I'm filming this, so it's been a wonderful morning. I couldn't ask for more. And today seemed like a really appropriate day to announce a new video series that I'm going to be doing with some awesome mom friends of mine who are fellow bloggers and vloggers. Lauren from Crazy About My Baba and Melissa from Sippy Cup Mom. We've been friends for several years now. Our boys are roughly the same age, and our second children are pretty cents in age. And so we decided that we wanted to do a weekly series called Moments, or taking a minute to enjoy life's moments, where each week we would come up with different topics to talk to you about and answer in our own way on each of our channels, and I'll link all their channels below. And topics will range from something silly like what's in my diaper bag, all the way to how do you find time for mom or me time. Just a wide range of topics that we as moms all face on an everyday basis. We're just everyday moms, and we just wanted to film a fun video series for you. So this week's topic, because it's Mother's Day, is Journey to Motherhood, or how I became a mom. I became a mom on June 4th, 2009, when I gave birth to my squishy, adorable Mr. K, who came into this world at a whopping 10 pounds, 2 ounces, and he was 20.5 inches long. He came at 38 weeks, 2 days, and he was born via C-section after a very, very, very long labor, 26, 27 hours. I guess compared to some others, though, that's not super long. It seemed long at the time. And I was induced for preeclampsia. So I guess I should go back to how it all started. My husband and I were married on April 4th of 2008, and he deployed about a month after that for his job. And he ended up getting injured overseas, and he came home early, and we weren't expecting that. And about a month later, we found out on our 6-month anniversary, October 4th, that we were expecting our first baby. While I was super excited, I was also very nervous, and I spent much of that pregnancy wondering, was I going to be a good mom? Could I really do this? All my life I dreamed of being a mom and wanted to be a mom, so it was finally coming true, and I was super nervous. But as I approached the end of my pregnancy, I started to swell up really badly, and at my 38-week appointment, I found out that I had signs for preeclampsia and was spilling protein into my urine, so they induced me. And after a failed induction, I never dilated past a 4, and so I ended up with a C-section. And Squishy came into this world as a very big baby, as I previously mentioned. He has just been the most wonderful gift I could have ever asked for. He changed our relationship, my husband and I's relationship. I fell in love with my husband all over again, seeing him as a father. I became a new person, I turned into this mom, which is what I had always dreamed of, and it changed me in a lot of ways. Suddenly everything my mom told me made sense, and it was just this amazing thing. And I obviously was still learning as I went along. So flash forward a couple years later, we found out we were expecting our second baby, and we found out that 2 was going to be a boy, and baby D was born on December 6th of 2012. He was born on his due date. I had gestational diabetes for that pregnancy, which was a little frustrating, but nothing I couldn't handle. I actually felt really good that entire pregnancy. My first pregnancy, I had awful sciatica pain. I felt big. My body had changed in these ways that I just wasn't anticipating, even though I knew it was coming. I just couldn't. Until it happens, you just don't know. And so with D, I really relished the pregnancy. I felt very good overall. I exercised a lot more during that pregnancy. I did have sciatica issues, but I handled it by going to a chiropractor who specialized in prenatal chiropractic care, and that helped a lot. And then when I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, they started talking about induction and or repeat C-section, and I wanted a vaginal birth after cesarean or a VBAC. So together with my practitioners, we came up with a plan that because they don't want you to go much past 40 weeks with gestational diabetes because your placenta begins to degrade. If I didn't go into labor on my own at 40 weeks, they were going to do a repeat C-section. I did not want to be induced again. I had been induced before. I knew that my body if my body wasn't going to go into labor on its own, I didn't want to go through 20 plus hours of labor again, only to end up with a second C-section. So I decided for me that it was best to have a repeat C-section at 40 weeks. But I was holding out hope, and I had an amazing doctor who was so instrumental in giving me my VBAC. And at 39 weeks, 6 days pregnant, I took my son to the playground thinking this will be the last day. I thought for sure I was going to end up with a C-section. This will be the last day I'm pregnant. We should take him to the playground. And my non-daredevil child, my always cautious child, jumped off an 8-foot platform onto the ground and started screaming. And I jumped. I don't think I've ever moved that fast, pregnant or not pregnant. I jumped up and I ran to him, and thankfully he was okay. But sure enough, when we got home, I had started contractions. So I went to bed I went and laid down with my son. We took a nap together. And when I woke up, I was in more active labor, and so I told my husband, I really think this is it. I was very nervous to call my doctor because I thought since my C-section was scheduled for the next morning, they weren't going to let me, they would just say, oh, well, let's just do the C-section. So we waited a little bit, and around 9 o'clock that night, we went into the hospital, and thankfully my obstetrician was more than willing to stay at the hospital and be back, or through my labor so I could be back. And my sweet baby D was born 9 pounds 4 ounces, vaginal delivery the next morning on his due date. And it was just a world of difference between my first birth and my second birth. It was so amazing to have my first baby, and I was so happy he was here, but it was like this cold, sterile environment on the operating table. And when my baby D came into the world, it was so warm, and he was warm when they placed him on my chest, and it was just such a healing experience and such a wonderful birth, and I couldn't have asked for more. Although I think my husband would tell you that when I threw up in his face, yeah, that happened. He would have appreciated that not happening, but he took it in stride. I'll link both of my birth stories down below. You can read them on my blog. But that is how that was my journey to motherhood. And Baby K made me a mom and taught me so many things, and Baby D made me a mom again, and he continues to teach me that even though you've already been a mom for 4 or 5 years, you don't know nearly enough. Every child is different, and every child is amazing and learns differently and does things differently. K was my cautious, we call him the politician. He was always shaking people's hands, but he was very reserved and cautious on playground equipment. Baby D is a daredevil, and he likes to climb and jump, and he's had more bruises so far in his life than I think his brother has ever had. So it's been an amazing journey to motherhood. I was lucky that I got pregnant very quickly, albeit by a surprise, and we didn't struggle with any of that side, but we were very blessed to have our 2 boys. So that was my journey to motherhood. So I would like to know, how did you first find out you were becoming a mom? Did you try for months and get your pink line and were super excited? Was it a surprise? How did you find out you were pregnant? And also, how did your labors go? Leave the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. And again, we'll see you back next Monday for another episode of taking a few minutes to enjoy life's moments. Have a great week. Bye.